After running into some technical difficulties on the AMD, I'm back on the NUC, so let's do this. So in Decalmachine, in the add-on folder, if you go under Assets and Decals, this is where your decals are stored. So I'm just going to drag the contents of the SCH free pack, the entire folder, and place it there. And that's all that's required to install decals with Decalmachine. With that, we'll open up Blender. So because I'm on the NUC, the computer's having a little bit of a struggle just rotating the view. So off the bat, I'm going to press Alt V and change this to EVLQ. That way we get our performance back. And then I'm just going to hide everything in the scene that isn't needed for this. We just want to focus on the machine itself. In fact, all the stuff that I'm hiding, I can unhide and also place somewhere else and it work out better. So we'll press Alt H, press M, we'll move it to a new collection called Stuff and Things. All right, and that stuff's moved. So layer 1 is this, and we'll move this up 1 so that layer 2 is all this. So 1, 2, 1, and we're ready to work. So I'm going to go into my preferences, which in my case actually mapped it back to Control-Alt-U because I love that hotkey. And if we go under Decalmachine, the add-on, we just hit the reload button and SCH is present. And in order to use Decalmachine, of course, you must exit Box Cutter. You can press D and it'll bring up your DPI menu. And here are the SCH decals that we'll be playing with today. So we'll place a couple of these here. Also delete the keyframe and turn off auto keyframing. Left that on in the last video. Something like that. D, project. And then we could take this in the helper and adjust the metallicity and the roughness, just to get that looking good. And we'll just insert another one, letting people know that the sphere has been made by Classic Corp. We'll select both of these, D, project, and it's not going to work. So in the previous recording, I'd actually paused and was going to send Machine an email about this, but instead, let's just roll with the punches. So we'll just add a couple of subdivisions to it, and we'll also turn on the final snapping parameter so that whenever we grab it and hold control, it'll just project it on the surface. And then we'll just use Alt S to push it away. And that way we'll live a longer life, free of stress, and one less email I have to write. However, you know, I'm pretty sure if Machine's seeing this video, he's shaking his head, saying that I'm using it all wrong. So continuing on, we'll select both of these, D, project, and we have the same issue come up again. So we'll just roll some loop cuts in here. Look at it head on. In fact, we'll scale it in just a little bit. And that way we can Alt S push this thing out. Kind of crazy, but you know, I think with the new Decalmachine, there's been a degree of automation which makes the old project less cool than it used to be. But that's just me. But if someone were to ask me, hey, what's your favorite tool? I'd say it's Decalmachine, you know, besides my own tools. But Decalmachine is definitely one of my favorites. It's just, decals is something everyone needs in their lives. You know, I try to actually do less decals on surfaces now to think about what those decals are going to be. I mean, once you start slapping those decals down, it's a done deal. Model is just 20 times more professional. So we'll scale this down. And let's pray to the Blender gods that Decal Project works. And it did not. So I'm pretty sure this is because I have some slightly unusual geometry here. So just be easier for us to just manually project that. And as you can see, that's something that I do quite a bit, just manually project decals on the surfaces. But there could be a chance that I'm behind on an update. I did just kind of jump on the NUC out of nowhere and just start using it, but I think I'm gonna use this as my computer for today, because the issues I'm having with the AMD computer, I just can't figure out. I'm having issues where every USB device will just disconnect, so you can't have that happening in the middle of a tutorial. I mean, I'm supposed to be giving a review about that computer. My review is the computer's off, guys, and I'm on a NUC. So continuing on, we'll use a little bit of Mr. Radioactive decals as well. His decal set is one that I've also become a big fan of. They just look so good. And we'll actually select this, the main surface, and use the hops mirror to mirror it across, and we'll select them again and mirror it on the Y as well. One day we'll be adding a double axial mirror. Just got to figure out how we would want that to exist, but the more I do that cut, the double axial, the more I contemplate it. So we're just shift deduplicating. You know, that's the good thing about these little screws is let's just project it on the surface while holding control. Sorry for the lack of narration at some of these segments. Right here, we have it mirroring to the other side, but not to this leg in the middle. So let's say we want it to be that complicated and actually make all of those mirrors, make that three-way mirror work. We'll mirror it across itself. We'll select it, but hold shift to bring back the empty. This one is the mirror empty. We'll mirror it on the Y. Actually, let's go in here. We'll select this. We'll press spacebar to add a extra space in there. Then select the empty. First, we'll mirror it on the Y. Shift select the empty. Mirror it on the X. Go back to. All right, I forget about how decals also create their own layers, which kind of puts a wrench in things. So we'll put layer 1, layer 2, and continue on. But now that this thing's double mirrored, we can just duplicate it and put this down in some places as well. Just looking at it, making sure it's looking good. That one could use some projection help. And as a result, that one will need a little projection help. We'll grab that, projection help. Just duplicate this in edit mode. Just some little screws, but at least they're on every side. And so we'll put a couple more SCH decals down, which I do plan to show more of these in the future and play with the set more. All right, so we'll select this, press D, project, and that worked. So things are looking good. If we select everything, we can actually just move this all to the same collection and not even keep the decals in a folder. That way we have our 2 collection system, because I am done. If we let this play back, unreadable, motion blurred to hell. Let's try that again without motion blur on. And now it's ready to render. So I could actually, at this point, probably turn on the AMD computer and let this thing render. I'm sure it could do that without overheating or going bananas, but sheesh guys, the amount of technical issues that I fight. I feel like I fight technical issues with computers more than we deal with bugs with hard ops and box cutter, but that's just my take. I didn't want to do this video to rant about computers and my frustrations with them. also right here, you know, this thing could use just one cut. I know it's a little late, but we put this here, put a difference on it, and we have that cut there. It just looked like it really needed it. In fact, we'll adjust it after the fact because it's still non-destructive. And we look at this with 1 and 2. You know, the only thing I don't like about round stages is you can't see the whole thing because there's a stage blocking you. But this is our final result. Of course, I'll turn off the render result. I wish the NUC was able to render this thing in HQ, but it just goes to show that we need to make an intermediary HQ for slightly more powerful computers, but less powerful than a computer with a 2080, a 1080, and a 32 thread 2990WX in there. But enough about that. I just wanted to do this video to introduce you guys to the Sir Charles free pack. He was able to put together a series of free decals using some keywords I gave him of things I thought that would be cool to see on decals. So my involvement in it was very minimal, but a well-designed decal can come in handy for just adding that additional detail when you don't want to fill it up with panel lines, greebles, screw holes, and slants and slopes and slides, you know, all those surface details. But with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this video, and I hope you guys do check it out, and I'll see you guys next time.